Welcome to this ROV Insight, where Stephen and I are going to chat today about what is enlightenment and why does it matter. So let's begin with a kind of conceptual pointing towards enlightenment. We can say that enlightenment is a recognition of, a realization of the ground of being, of pure consciousness prior to form and content, pure awareness from which and within which all things arise. It's that which is prior to events and forms and beings. And as that ground, that prior to, that unmanifest prior to form, you can't really talk about it, right? Because once you talk, you have spoken a form. You have made it into a form. So anything we say about it is setting a limitation upon it, and it is by its nature unlimited and boundless and wordless. And so how do we point toward it? So in subtle energy meditation, we approach it experientially in terms of stripping away layers of awareness. So we talk about, initially, most of us are very in tune with our outer sensory perception and this seemingly hard material world around us and our five sense interaction with that world. And as we, so a first peeling away is to close our eyes and turn inwards and to become aware of this inner world, the inner senses. And so you can even do that with me now, just by closing your eyes and just becoming aware of the space inside your body and aware of any sensory, inner sensory impressions that arise. And as we start to tune into any sensation in the body, we notice that it's not a thing, but it's actually a fluid arising and passing away. It's kind of an undulating, changing sensation. And as we tune into that changing sensation, we start to feel the energetic quality of sensation. We start to feel ourselves as life energy. So that's a further peeling away, a further dive into another layer of experience where we experience ourselves as energy, beings of energy, and interacting with the energies all around us. As we really tune into ourselves as energy, we start to be able to feel the whole field of life itself. And as we are aware of this wider, vast field of life and we tune into it, we start to be able to feel even subtler qualities, a deep peace of being at one with life, deep love for all beings that comes from that feeling of connection. It's just a natural result of being one with life, being one with all beings. And as we settle into that and we rest in that those subtle feelings of deep peace, there's a stillness and a silence and a spaciousness which are closer to formless qualities. But feel this underlying stillness underneath all the movement, the silence underneath sounds, and the spaciousness that is boundless. And as we let go even of those subtle sensory qualities, And we ask, who or what is aware of these subtle sensory qualities? Who or what is aware of all of this, of all these layers? It's awareness itself, awareness beyond form, that is that within which all of this arises. As we investigate that, we find it's limitless and boundless. There are no edges to it, no beginning and no end to it. It's open, clear awareness. As we slowly open our eyes within that open, clear awareness, we rest as awareness and experience all this all around us and within us as that awareness. There's a whole nother sensibility that we bring to life and to our interactions with each other. And so let's begin there and talk about what difference does that make. And Stephen, I'll turn it over to you, and within that awareness, ask you to speak from there.
Kevin, thank you. It's very beautiful. You're aware as you're listening to me that you're also listening to everybody who's listening to this. Because when we consider that all things exist within awareness that you just experienced with Kevin, then you also recognize that all living beings, all living things exist within awareness. So right at this moment, we're essentially indivisible. Our shared heart, or our hearts of awareness, this open-hearted awareness that Kevin has guided you into, is actually indivisible. As Kevin said, it's infinite, it's boundless. And if it's boundless, it means it's capable of connecting with each and every one of us and everything. It's an unobstructed love, an open-hearted awareness in which everything and everyone is included. The screen you're looking at, and the computer, the table it rests upon, space around you, your body, your thoughts, your feelings, your perceptions, the sounds, vision, feelings, what you touch, taste, what you smell. Everything, all things exist within awareness. This morning I was in a wonderful discussion with Blaise Kennedy about exactly this, about the way that we are all interconnected with everything. And at the same time, each human being, every one of us, is connected to both the flow of creation just as Kevin was talking about, this movement, and also the uncreated, the unmanifest, the unchanging. Each one of us is an embodiment of this paradox of both the becoming, the evolving, the creating, the movement, and the being, that which is uncreated and unmanifest. Right now, you're feeling this as a direct experience. From the point of view of being awake or enlightened, so from this view of awakened being, there's nothing but wholeness or completeness or oneness. Everyone and everything is an expression of this pure awareness, this completeness, this beingness, this isness or suchness. And when we move from this space of being or completeness. So you listening and everyone here already is and has been and will always be a Buddha or a Christ or a Divine Mother. So this is the absolute sense of waking up, of being enlightened. So we're always complete and unlimited and infinite and timeless and pure. And from that absolute view of awakening or enlightenment, from that emptiness or that uncreated, unmanifest source of all that is, we are also constantly becoming, just as Kevin pointed out, everything else arises within this uncreated space of being. So we are also always this manifesting and moving and extraordinarily sensitive and intimate and ordinary and fallible, sentient human beings. There is a very deep sensitivity and intimacy to all that we experience. So we're both always being and unmanifest and constantly becoming and manifesting. This happens without any contradiction, especially as Kevin pointed out, and as we do through subtle energy meditation, when you turn inwards towards this space of being, towards this open-hearted awareness, to this all-embracing, compassionate and loving awareness of all that is. You can actually directly experience this without any contradiction, without any bias one way or another, without any attachment to any point of view. We just simultaneously turn inwards, experience this open-hearted awareness by dropping as you are now. As you're listening to me, you've dropped, you're sinking and resting in this open-hearted embrace of everything that is. And we embrace both the possibility of the unmanifest or the uncreated, as well as this precious human existence. Just as Kevin explained, we rest just as you're doing now in the silence and stillness and presence of our hearts. And when we rest in that way, the heart, the open-heartedness, which is intimate and soft. Notice how your energy and awareness has slowed down and has become very intimate and connected with what we're saying. You've slowed down, paused, stopped, and become luminous and awake and lit with presence. And we truly know this. We recognize it, just as Kevin was pointing out. We recognize and know this moment of space and silence and stillness that is infinite. It's got no edges, right? If I ask you to feel love, where does love begin and end? It has no boundary or edge. A felt experience, which is why we again and again say, make this a felt sensation. A feeling doesn't have an edge or a boundary. You're simply resting like this, just for a moment, in the space of presence and inwardness, deep in your heart. So with practice, this luminous presence in your heart shines for all living beings. And with practice, every activity, every thought, every perception arises from the space of presence, inwardness, tranquility, stillness, love, and compassion. So Kevin, thank you for the opportunity to share this with you. I really appreciate the guidance that you gave in the beginning. It was just so naturally, wonderfully present, still, silent, spacious. And on that note of spaciousness, anybody who's listening, remember to give space to what's present. It simply is as simple as allowing space, choosing to be spacious and open, choosing to allow and to be present. And when you're present, that the actual quality of allowing opens this being. Simply you allow yourself to be and you rest in that. So thank you, Kevin. And thank you, everybody, for your presence.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you all for watching and for resting in awareness, as awareness with us.